All right. Here we go. All right. Well, I want to make sure that we get to all the content and leave some time for Q&A so we won't wait too much more time for people to sign on. I don't want to penalize you for being on time, people. So why don't we at least preamble to the start? So we're going to talk about, this is the first of 3 presentations. And each one is the first Tuesday of each new session. And I break down our total neurodiversity social skills training approach into 3 modules. And so this is the first of the 3. And what I'm going to share tonight is uh, is the first of the 3, which is how to create the positive feedback cycles that we create at camp. You can do that at home, and how to motivate social growth in your child. Okay, let me make sure that we are recording. We are recording, everyone. And away we go. Okay, so in case you haven't met me yet, I'm Mike Fogel. I'm the founder and director of Camp Pegasus, Mini Pegasus. It all started 24 years ago when I first started meeting kids who had Asperger's syndrome at the time, and I created the Art of Friendship social skills program. And the site where we have our program is actually my private practice, where we have 4 treatment rooms. And so that's the Child and Family Art Therapy Center. And so we're going to cover a few things in our time together, a little bit about neurodivergence and neurodiversity, talk about the impact of social emotional cognitive challenges. That's a term that I coined in my book that speaks to the reasons why socialization is hard for the neurodivergent child. We'll talk about ideal support and treatment. How do we create the ideal support environment that wraps around both office and home? And so we're going to dive into all that. In case you don't know, I have a YouTube channel filled with videos about how you can support your child. There's stuff about anxiety, temper, the top 7 social awarenesses and social skills that everyone needs to know, and on. So there's just a host of things. So this QR code will come up at the end as well, but feel free to take a snapshot of that and you can visit that. Also, like and subscribe. And I also wrote a book in 2020, which actually, today's presentation excerpts about the first third of the book. We're talking about creating the positive cycles. So this book is actually our Mini Pegasus program in paper. If you want to buy it online, clicking on the QR code on the left, actually there's an in-person discount if you buy it at pickup. If you're on site with us, you can purchase my book for $15 when you visit us in our program. So I want to give you an image as we move into talking about neurodivergence, neurodiversity, that every single person who processes differently than other people who process differently. There's a quote that says, if you met one person on the spectrum, you've met one person on the spectrum, because social traits, the wide range of, hundreds of little micro social awarenesses and social skills that consist of the breadth of social interaction, human social interaction, are made up of all these little individual decisions and awarenesses that we have. Each one is its own little skill. So here I have the image of this graphic equalizer. You might have seen these in stereos from days gone by, past eras, where each of those little rectangles on the bottom is a slider. And you can nudge up the sound in each of these channels to create a different sound with whatever music you're listening to. And to me, I imagine that each of these sliders is one itty bitty social skill. Like, one could be using your eyes to tune into others. One could be reading social cues, but others could be conversation skills. Yet another set of social skills could be around initiating and sustaining play or conversation. And yet others have to do with flexibility and so on. So each of these is a slider, and some kids are weaker in some of the, using your eyes to tune into others and reading social cues, but they might be very social and have sliders that are very high in terms of like flexibility. Other people might be very high in the tuning in part of socialization, but be weaker in flexibility and so on. And this is actually what makes up both the autism spectrum and fully neurodiversity. So, and it's all brain based. And so this term SECCs, social emotional cognitive challenges, that I talk about are each of those sliders represents one little cognitive bit, one little bit of wiring in how your child either understands social skills, so the social world, and the skills that they have available to engage. And so there often is, like, if we have a bridge like made up of these puzzle pieces, perhaps there's the gap between them and joining in this neurotypical world where the neurotypical folks have created all the rules but never published a manual. And so it's hard for your child to figure out how to engage in this mainstream social world because they didn't get the manual and they're not inferentially learning it. So what happens is, and this is, I say these next couple slides to inform the rest of our presentation. And so very often the kids that come to our camp or my therapy practice have feel like they've been misunderstood or mishandled. In the mainstream world, in that sort of neurotypical world, they may receive negative feedback cycles from teachers or peers or some caregivers. From teachers, they might be like, get back in your seat, get back in your seat. That was inappropriate. Say you're sorry. So there's a lot of correction, right? A lot of I call perpendicular correction. It's very direct. And over time, repeat correction like that starts to feel bad. And the child starts to feel like, well, why can't I do this? The other kids can do this. They're not getting in trouble. Why am I'm not getting any credit for the positive things I'm doing. So they might feel that. And from peers, they might get messages like, stop, leave me alone, stop. Like, you're bothering me. That's so weird. So they might get some of these messages from other kids. Or if your child is particularly anxious or shy or withdrawn, maybe they don't know how to engage. And so they're also having a lack of positive feedback. And they feel like, I just don't know how to enter. So many kids that we work with, especially kids who are teens, who are older, who can put their experiences into words, have expressed that they feel misunderstood. But our message in our program is, it's not your child's fault in socialization. They simply don't know how to do it. So it's our imperative as a team, as a society, as educators, to get this right for your child and others. And so today, what we're going to share is the first third of a method to make social skills and coping skills safe and fun and comfortable for your child. And that's really our approach and our philosophy. And instead of this, where the child feels misunderstood and they feel very lonely, we want your child to feel like this, like they just won the blue ribbon. And so we want to create positive cycles. That includes acceptance, patience for things that they move a little more slowly. They need a skill building approach as opposed to control and containment. Control and containment is all that quick correction that grown-ups often do. Stop that, cut that out, inappropriate, say you're sorry, all that very directive correction where kids aren't really learning socialization. They're just being told what to do. They need reinforcement, which is a big piece of tonight's talk, and they need compassionate social coaching, which actually will appear in 2 weeks in course number 2 that we talk about in 2 weeks. And above all, your child needs acceptance for who they are today with a hopeful eye for tomorrow, right? So we're going to do deep acceptance, and the language that you learn today is one way that we figured out to communicate this deep acceptance right now. Okay. So what I propose, and the way that I teach this now, is I call what we do the ARCH method of social and coping skills training. So ARCH is an acronym, ARCH, and I think it's also appropriate because it's very holistic. It sort of wraps around the child's whole experience. And you'll learn 3 of those skill modules if you attend all 3 of these trainings. So the arch is as follows. And so the A is anticipate and teach. So that's skill building, which is what we're doing in our program, and providing structure. So knowing in advance, proactively, what your child needs, right, going into each different setting and in life, and giving them that structure, and then teaching them the skills. And so that's very much where we come in, but I'm going to teach you a bunch of things tonight. The R is reinforce and reward. This is that positive cycle that we're going to create together beginning tonight. So this talk is all about the A and the R. We're going to do a deep dive in A and R. In 2 weeks, we're going to do the C for compassionate social coaching. And then we're going to do the H in 4 weeks in the first Tuesday of session 3. Okay, so anticipate and teach tonight and reinforce and reward. So you've been receiving our emails, the daily newsletters that have the social lessons. And I want to share with you tonight a little bit about the way that we present them. And so you get a sense and the flavor of it. So we talk to the kids about, the team for fun. This is our absolute through line. This is the very thesis for the program. And so the team for fun actually makes concrete a very abstract concept that we are, as human beings, we're interdependent. We're counting on each other, right, to maintain relationships. Well, how do we teach that to very young children? So we talk about fun. And fun is kid code for feeling good, feeling safe, feeling okay and regulated around other people. So fun is more than just like a day at the amusement park. It means a lot of things to kids, actually. So I ask all the children, everyone raise your hand if you like to have fun. And every hand goes up. And we go, yes, we write it down. Fun. Everyone wants fun. Look around, everyone. Everyone here wants fun. So if 2 kids are having fun, if 2 kids are playing together, how many are hoping to have fun? 2. What if 3 kids are playing together? How many are hoping to have fun? 3. What if 7 are? 7 kids are hoping to have fun. And we're establishing this pattern that everyone wants fun. And that we're actually debunking one misunderstanding that a lot of clients that I worked with had prior to my ever teaching this. A lot of clients that I worked with had some assumption that the other kids around them had ill intentions, had malicious intent. And so they would interpret things in a negative way or an angry way. So they would actually overreact in a sense of rejection. And maybe it was learned. It's possible that it was learned, but we want to sort of create a foundation that other people, even if they do things, if someone says something that's too honest to you, they still actually want fun for the most part. Later, if we have time in the program, we'll talk about true bullies, but that's a story for another day. But establishing the foundation, everybody wants fun. And so for preschoolers, I'm showing you the simplest version of this poster. We have 2 rules: stay together and keep it fun. Keep it smiley face at the bottom. So when you're playing, play close together. You have a shot of having a relationship, of playing if you're near each other. If everyone scatters to different corners of the room, it's hard to play. So stay together is one early and core lesson that we teach, and keep it fun for all. Okay. This has a little bit more language in this poster, and the 6 to 8-year-olds learned this one. There's a team for fun agreement. And so the agreement is we're going to stay close together in this interaction, in this relationship, by keeping each other happy and comfy. Okay. And actually, this is another bit of abstract this unwritten social agreement that holds any relationship together. If there's a marriage that's working, if there's a team that's really effective, if there's a theater cast that's really effective, they've all non-verbally signed on to this team for fun agreement. We're going to stay close together in this task or relationship and keep each other happy and comfortable. And there are 2 jobs. Half the time you're keeping yourself calm and happy. That's your responsibility. And I want to make sure that kids know that they are entitled to pursue their happiness. they're equal to other kids. So half the time they should be, trying to get their needs met, and that's okay. It's okay to get your needs met. But also, the other half of the time, you're doing number two, and you're keeping other kids calm and happy. Okay, and so we call those gift behaviors on the right. Little Tweedledum over there on the right has a gift behavior, and Tweedledee on the left has the wrench, which is a tool. So you're going to keep yourself calm and happy with tools, calming tools, assertiveness that we're going to teach, the power of I, and then gift behaviors are play skills, flexibility, and so on that we're also going to teach this summer. So this idea of two jobs that we established for the older, for the older kids, all social skills that we teach really point back to these two jobs. And this idea that we're going to stay close together, we're going to maintain our group feeling good as often as possible, and ourselves. And this was today's lesson for all ages. And so we teach this in a very fun way. This is called gift behaviors versus stink bomb behaviors. And in very narrative form, and I'll do a faster version, but with a lot of drama, we talk about how we have orange friend on the left and we have blue friend, and orange friend goes online and says, oh, I want to get a stink bomb. This is going to be fun for me. I'm going to buy a stink bomb with the stinkiest stuff in the world. Gets it, lights it, and he looks around, sees blue friend. Orange friend hands this stink bomb with all the stinkiest stink juice in the world, hands it to blue friend, and it goes boom, pow, and blue friend is covered in this smelly, smelly stink juice. Now red friend thinks, this is going to be fun for me. So red friend is smiling, or orange friend, but blue friend says, I don't want to be around you anymore. And we ask the kids to take a look at the feeling face, and they say it's sad. Blue friend is sad, and they don't want to be around you. So I ask the kids, but isn't this this is a good picture because one person's smiling, isn't that good? And the kids go, no, because one person is unhappy. One person has made someone else unhappy. Well, let's look at the cartoon on the right. Here, orange friend is going to blue friend's birthday party. So when you go to a birthday party, every child of every age that we work with raises their hand and knows when you go to a birthday party, you're trying to get a present to make the birthday person happy, the birthday kid, right? So we're thinking about what they like, and you want to get them something that's going to make them happy on their birthday. So we're thinking about their feelings. We're thinking about what they want and what they like. So you can see orange friend thinks, I hope my friend likes this. And blue friend was reaching out. What a great friend, with a big smile. And I asked the kids, now this one, how many kids are smiling on this one? On a gift behavior, 2 people are smiling. So which is the better picture, gang? So it's giving gift behaviors. So I want to encourage you to start using this language that you read about today in the newsletter, hopefully, and also here and tonight. So if your child does something that's just not working out for them, it's not working out for the family, maybe it bothers someone, you can go, ooh, that's a little bit of a stinky behavior. It's a little stinky. What would be a good gift behavior you could put in here? So in question form, which actually anticipates compassionate social coaching in 2 weeks, in question form, we ask questions about, hey, what would be a gift behavior you could do instead? And if your child does anything kind or anything helpful, you can say, ooh, that was a gift behavior. And so we're going to get into how you can reinforce with your language today. So this is just a sample of these early lessons that we covered so far and how we talk about them with your young child. So give gift behaviors as often as possible. Next, I want to talk a little bit about, so this is, anticipate and teach. Now we're going to look at the 2 yellow bullet points. We're going to proactively plan for participation in activities. And we're going to talk about how it's really good to write positive expectations, social expectations. But first, I have this slide that has a few of our favorite and most important support strategies, which I'll name sort of going clockwise from the top. So on top, a lot of our campers and participants get oversaturated and overwhelmed with language, with words. Yes, they can process it, but it's slow and it might be a labor. And if you have a lot to say, if there are a lot of directions, that can flood them. And if your child is already stressed or upset, too much language can actually escalate them. So having a dry erase board, these are cute, funny ones you can get online. You can also get some from Staples that are really just mini handheld, like dry erase boards on a stick, more traditional looking ones. And you can order them singly and also in bulk. So it's helpful if you just write a brief thing like, dressed, shoes on, backpack, and they can hold it, and then your child can be more independent with your instructions. So that's one thing, going visual as often as possible. And you can see all of these happen to be visual prompts. Having a schedule and knowing what's coming is really important. Most of the kids that we work with, of all ages up through 18, have a hard time navigating and organizing their minds in time and space. And so the day and life can really be stressful, but if they can have a schedule, so in the top right, this is a visual schedule. First we do this, then we do this, and you can actually get clip art right from Google Images, and you can put the pictures. If your child's not yet a reader, because we have some campers as young as 4, you can do pictures or images of this is what we're doing first, second, third. Same thing if you want your child to be independent with getting dressed, you can do like underpants, socks, shorts, shirt. And then they can have a little check, 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 check. Oh, and they can be like, they look down, I got all those things on me. So that can help your child to be more independent and maybe have you need to repeat yourself less with prompts. For older kids, going color coding things. And also in our program, with time being a little challenging and transitions being hard, having visual timers. This is called the time timer. It's one of the original visual timers. It's pretty ubiquitous and certainly in working with kids on the spectrum. And so having a visual timer, that red field elapses so people can see the visual, lapsing of time. And it can help them to organize their mind to work a little faster or know that a transition is coming. So once again, you could say 5 minutes till blah, 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 or we can take a break for 5 minutes, or you have to have everything ready to go out the door in 15 minutes. Crank it to 15, and then it winds down and it goes beep, beep. It has a very small beep that's not scary or really overwhelming. One rule, only grown-ups set the timer, because kids invariably, they want to alter reality to fit their needs, so they'll keep extending time. So only grown-ups are in charge of the timer. You can also get this visual timer and others on your phone as an app. So if you're ever on the go, you can just hold it up. Okay, 7 more minutes till this. And you give time warnings as well before every transition. 5 minutes till blah, blah, blah. Get your mind ready. 2 minutes until the end of art. After this, we have music. 30 seconds left till cleanup time, everyone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I have my mouth buzzer. And then it's cleanup time. So all these visual aids can help decrease your child's anxiety. It can often help them be more organized, more independent, and it can sometimes help with flexibility if they know what's coming, if they can visualize it. So these are some sort of just universal tips that are game changers, and we actually use sort of as universal design in our program. That's why when if your child came and made, and if you were with your child when they made their lanyard, everyone got a schedule that was color coded that goes in the back of their name tag. Next, I want to talk about rules or expectations. Now, these are not hard rules. This is not the 10 Commandments. This is not, we're not talking about, felonies or, first-degree murder or manslaughter or anything that's legalistic. But creating certain social expectations, this is what we're shooting for, gives your child a North Star. This is a picture of the rules that we used last year. And these are all pretty similar to this year. We actually added one and we reordered them. But I'm going to tell you, there's actually a formula to writing really effective social expectations. We call them rules, but that just helps. It's a very concrete term for young children to understand. So we call them rules, but really they're expectations. So, okay, we're gonna have safe bodies, gentle touch, no hurting touch, very gentle touch. Stick together when you're transitioning, when you're playing. Use your words as often as possible. I want, I feel, and you'll see that those are going to lead into a social lesson in just a number of days where we're going to teach I statements. We call it the power of I. Next, we have gift behaviors, which we learned about today. Give gift behaviors. This is a rule, but it's really a social expectation. As often as possible, give the adults in your life gift behaviors of being a good listener, and flexibility, and give your fellow campmates and brothers and sisters gift behaviors as often as possible. And number 5 is have fun, a social expectation. So how do we arrive at this, and how can you use this at home? So it's helpful if you have a child who's 5 or under. I would do no more than 3 main do rules, social rules. If you have an elementary age child, you could go up to 5 if you think your child can handle it, but really no more than 5. It's plenty. So do rules. The reason I call them do rules is just to help you think of, we want to write them in the positive formulation. So do follow directions the first time you're asked. Do use your calming strategies. Now that's not great English. So, once you actually write the real rules, you eliminate the word do, and it'll look like this. These are the camp rules for Big Pegasus, which went up to age 15. Follow directions. So like parentheses, do follow directions. Do, number 2. Do keep your hands and feet to yourself, even if you're mad. Do use kind words and voices. But of course, we leave off the word do. So this is how we language it for older kids. And then for younger kids, you can see we have just minimal words, and we try to have an image along with it so that they can associate an image to each rule. So in your house, think of maybe the 3 or up to 5 most important things that you would like to see your child do more. And then you can write these do rules, write them down, be colorful. If you need to, or if you're able, snag a little picture from, do Google searches for everything. You can get a photo of any subject, any object, okay? And then post it. And so I have this, we call it WPP, it's our formula, write, publish, and post. So first brainstorm it, write it out, then publish it. So write it up, nicely, colorfully, in a child-friendly way. And by publish it, it also means go over it with your child. Let them know these are our new family rules. This is what we're going for all the siblings. If there are siblings at home, okay. So write, publish, and then post it. So put it up in a public spot. Could be either your child's room, maybe a wall that's always exposed, or the back of their door if their door is closed, or it could be on the fridge, and make it family-wide rules. So universal design, no one's singled out. All the kids in your family are working on your do rules, right? And so this way you're making your expectations concrete and permanent and a reference. Every morning in our greeting meeting, when we launch the day, we do a reading of the current Mini Peg rules. And so it's almost like we're advertising something. We're keeping the product in front of the consumer. So you can bring your child to the rules. Let's go over them every morning or before bed. And we're programming your child's mind with all the repetition. These are the things that are most important. Okay? So all that was the anticipate and teach. We're teaching the social skills in the program. We're teaching you how to reinforce. We're teaching you the lessons as well, so you can have the language, some tips, right, in your daily newsletter. And now the bulk of what I want to spend time on is the reinforcement. This is what your child experiences at Mini Pegasus all day from 9 to 12. And so social skills training has been found in studies to be most effective when it actually wraps around the child's whole life. And so it's between the therapy office, the home, and even the school if possible. And so we teach it, and your child is getting a deep immersion with 3 hours a day times 5 days a week for a minimum of 2 weeks or longer. right? So nice immersion in the concepts. But then if it just stays in our office, there's a chance your child might not practice it. So you keep the language alive through the ways that we're going to talk about. And now the program really comes to life. And your child is much more likely to practice and repeat the skills. And this is the feedback that we've received over 20 some years of doing the program in this way. All right, so we're going to talk about these two skills within creating these positive cycles: targeted positive reflection, TPR, and our proprietary reward system, which is not ABA. It's decidedly not ABA, and you'll see why when I describe it. Okay, so when we talk about the R, just backing up, so the A, anticipate and teach, is kind of the stuff that happens, the planning of it happens away from your child's social life. The R and the C and the H in the arch is all when your child is living life. Your child's life is a social skills group. Life is social skills everywhere we go. And so you can become the social coach by learning the R, the C, and the H. And so let's go into it. So as a social coach, there are two essential functions, really, if we boil it down. And so it's reinforcement, creating the positive cycles, and then social coaching when your child makes a miscue, when something goes wrong. So reinforcement and social coaching. And if we really simplify it, it's a way for you to, it becomes manageable for you, for our staff, to be able to execute this program. So it's like, this is a child's balance scale. So it goes like this, right? And so the default setting is reinforcement. So the scale should be tipping towards reinforcement all the time. And then, something goes wrong, scale tips. Let's do a little social coaching. And then as soon as you're done coaching, you want to go right back to the positive reinforcement. Get your child feeling good about themselves after there was a correction done in this very compassionate way. Okay, so just have it in your mind. But tonight we're focusing on reinforcement. So it's completely natural for any grown-up to comment on negative behaviors. Completely natural. I did it with my own children, even though I teach this, I practice this. When I was not on top of my game, my kids pushed me in a moment of tiredness and weakness. I could easily, as a human being, lapse into negative comments. Also, if you're not aware of this idea of the positive focus, the negative focus, you might unwittingly do it because, here's why. Because you and I, as human beings, as human grown-ups, we are trying to get through our day, right? So we wake up, we're tired, but we start the day. Now you have to get the kids up and moving. The kids are moving, okay, with like molasses, with all of the drag and slowness that can come from that. And then, okay, we get them off to camp or school or wherever. And you have all the things you have to do during the day, and you power through those things, right? It's the afternoon. Now you picked up the kids, now you have the kids again. And you're trying to get through the day, and maybe, just maybe, at the end of your day, you'll have 15 minutes, 30 minutes to put your feet up before you're so tired and your eyes want to drop. So we're trying to get through our day to finally get to our relaxation, our payoff. And so therefore, what do we comment? What do we notice? We take for granted when things are going okay. When my child is on track, I'm like, oh, thank goodness they're on track. Now I can take care of all this stuff. But as soon as one thing goes wrong, I'm all over that because I have to fix that in order to get things smooth again so we can get back to the day. So that's really why, as human beings, we're so prone to catch the negatives, because it messes up our day, quite frankly. But we have a higher calling here. Our higher calling is turning your child's negative cycles positive, becoming a social coach, and turning life into social learning opportunities. So there's a skill that's required, which is called attending to the positive. We need to attend to the positive first. Before we can even do any reinforcement, you have to start to notice. You have to train your eyes and your mind to notice micro behaviors, little itty bitty choices your child's making, small decisions, And even things like if they're persevering, like their work habits. Are they sticking with something that's hard? Are they giving effort? These are all things that you can comment on if you know what to look for. And I'm going to give you a little exercise to do that can help power you up for this. Okay, so let's see. All right, back up to this. So this exercise, if you just take 5 minutes, select 5 minutes and observe one of your kids, if you have more than one child, watch them at play. And I want you to really notice in the vein that I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to give you a little bit of a vignette here, a little example. And I want you to notice how many little micro decisions I'm noticing in this story that I'm going to tell. And as I do that, and you get a sense of it, I want you to get your mind ready to do an observation of one of your kids at play. And for you to notice, you can either write down, you can have a little pad and just jot it down, which can be pretty powerful to see all the things that you write down. Or if you want to do it more simply, you can just do it in your head. Here's this little this strategy for you to learn how to attend to the positive. So what you want to do is you hunker down, you sit down, and so I'm going to observe my son playing with Legos. Okay, so Sam, he grabs his box of Legos, he's carrying it. So I'm going to now narrate my observation. I'm observing what my child's doing, and I'm going to narrate it to you. So, okay, Sam, he has this big thing of Legos, okay, and he's carrying it. It's heavy, but he's got it, and he takes it. He dumps the entire bin on the floor. Oh, it's going to be a big cleanup. Okay, he dumps it on the floor. Okay, and now he picks up a spaceship that he already started before. He's rotating it. He's looking at it from every angle. All right, he picks up a gray piece. Nope. He changes his mind. He puts it down. He picks up a red piece. Okay, he's looking around. He starts to press the red piece on. It breaks. It crumbles in his hands. He stayed calm. Okay. He rebuilds it. He's putting it back together. Okay, he's pretty patient. He's sticking with it. Okay, it's all back together. Now he picks up that red piece on. He places it. I can see he's doing it more carefully this time. And he continues. And now he continues building. So look in that narration. Every little one of those movements actually was a brain function. So picking up the ship, electing to rotate it this way, rotate it that way, those are each little micro decisions that we don't even stop to think about. You usually see sort of like the gestalt of, okay, my kid's playing with Legos, there he is, right? It's one big blob of play behavior. But actually, there's all these little itty bitty micro behaviors. So I implore you, try to do this 5 minutes. It's actually pretty interesting. Watch one of your kids at play and notice the micro behaviors as an exercise. The skill I'm going to share next builds on this idea of attending to the positive, to the micro behaviors. So the skill that we have, I teach all of our staff at Camp Pegasus, Mini Pegasus, everywhere I go, is TPR, targeted positive reflection. You're going to verbally reflect, verbally say what you see. So see it and say it. See it and say it. And there are a number of really huge benefits to doing this TPR. The chief one is captured in this image that I have on the screen for you. There's a picture of someone taking a snapshot of that woman. Okay. When we give TPR, when we are reflecting, verbally reflecting what your child is doing, think of it this way. Your child, and most kids their age, and especially neurodivergent children their age, are kind of bopping through their day without tremendous awareness of their behavior. And they're also, because they misread social cues, it's hard for them to tell which of their behaviors actually were more effective and helpful ones, and which behaviors were less helpful or less effective. So they're missing those cues, and that's one of the things that makes your child possibly repeat the same social mistakes over and over. So when we see it and say it, we're taking that snapshot of that moment. So if we say, good eyes, like good job looking my way for these directions. You are so flexible. You two are playing so beautifully together. You really stuck up for yourself. When we name the behaviors, you two work that out. Great compromise. Whenever we name what your child's doing, we've just validated it. We've just made it real. And of all the behaviors that we're doing, we are selecting the ones that we appreciate, that are helpful. Now your child knows it, so you've labeled it. Hugely important, because you're now pulling out the behaviors that you want to see your child do more of. So naming it. This is the most important thing that you can do in social skills training. See it and say it, TPR. And what are you looking for? Any social behavior. And it could be, thank you for holding the door. Wow, you brought your plate to the counter after dinner. I appreciate that. It could be those kind of things. Manners. Thank you for saying thank you. I appreciate that you said thank you after I did that for you. To holding the door. To siblings getting along. If there's a play date. Wow, you were so bendy. You were so flexible. Bendy is our code word for flexible. You will learn soon. You were so bendy, and you kept it fun for your playmate. So name it. Social behavior, coping efforts. You calmed down. You took a break. Work habits. You're still working on that. That's incredible. Wow, you really can work hard on something. And decisions and choices. I add that fourth bullet point, decisions and choices, because so many of the kids, a majority of the kids that come to work with me in therapy or at camp have maybe learned through their experience or believe that the world kind of happens to them and they're passive players. And it's like, oh, it's the world's fault, or they're mean. I can't help myself, and so that is one of the things actually that can make kids want to avoid socialization. I don't know what to do. So one of the things that we teach, your child's going to learn in their time with us, is the road to happiness. You choose. You have the ability to choose the road to happiness. Make a positive decision to direct your life in really good ways. So every time your child makes a decision, if you can name that, it could be, oh, you chose to wear those PJs tonight. You chose. You decided to do this. You chose to do that. That's also taking a snapshot and validating you can choose things. You have the ability. And as you build that out, initially it can be like obvious things that they're choosing. You chose chocolate over vanilla today. Wow, it could be big things like you chose to take a break instead of hit your brother. Amazing. So they can be really big choices as the farther you get into it. But start to label all their choices. All right. So I'm going to have some examples. Let's talk a little bit about the benefits as well. So here are some of the other reasons besides the social training part, the calling out, is your child is going to feel like you are with them. When you name what they're doing often or all day, your kids feel like, wow, they are with my parents with me, my teacher's with me. So they feel like you're paddling. That's why I have this image. You're paddling in the same direction. In a group setting, it actually decreases demand load and the adversarial feel. What I mean by that is, like when I coach or do consultations at schools, I teach teachers this, or in families where there are siblings, you can start to give TPR to kids who are on task. And then the kids that are off task might hear the TPR and adjust their behavior themselves. So I can be like, I see Emily lining up to go to the next activity. I see Sam lining up to go. I see Max. Child number 4, who was off task, who wandered away, might hear us calling that out, look over the shoulder, and then they start to head over to get in line just because we were giving TPR to the kids who were on task. So it's a way of actually shaping group behavior. And I found that it actually creates less police work. When we're really focusing on the positive and naming what kids are doing, occasionally, obviously, we'll still have to give directions, but often you can shape behavior in this indirect way. If you are literally saying what your child's doing, you can't help but meet them where they are. This goes all the way back to Carl Rogers and humanistic, person-centered therapy. Meet people where they are. This is one of the best ways to do it. And so it creates deep empathy. Kids feel heard and seen. And Most of the people that I work with who are neurodivergent, by the time they're teenagers, say, I don't feel seen or heard. But you can do that now. Okay? Now, here are a number of scripts that you can use. Okay? And so TPR tends to start with the words you. It's you. And so if you have lived in the Delaware Valley in the last 20 years, there's a car commercial. You might hear it on certain local channels. It's all about you at Lafferty Subaru. Da-na-na-na. So you is our motto with TPR. And so you can reflect decisions. Oh, you decided to do this. You changed your mind. You want to reflect all problem solved. You did it. You figured it out all by yourself. Okay. Conflict. So this is if there are two kids involved. Wow, you two worked it out. You two got back to fun. We use that all the time. Okay, so you. As often as possible, naming any of the behaviors that you see that really are helpful. Okay, there's a few more scripts that I want to pass on to you in this. Okay, and by the way, I will send a copy of this PowerPoint to you all as well as an attachment so that you can have this, you can see some of the scripts, so you can refer back to this as well as a document. Okay. On this page, more you, TPR, you can reflect play management. And you'll notice each time we teach a social lesson, it actually gives you more language that you can use for TPR. Already, if two kids are playing near each other, you can say, wow, you're a team for fun. You're so close together. You're playing so close together, fun. Or you invited them to play. You got back to fun. You two compromised on a game. So play management. You can reflect conversation skills. If you want your child to practice more and more of their conversation, wow, what an interesting conversation question. Question words tend to start up conversations. Or if a child asks your child something and your child responds, you can say, okay, way to bounce the conversation back. You were so curious about them. Nice follow-up question. Conversation skills we tend to think of that a little more for older kids, older elementary and middle school, but still appropriate. If your child is conversing with other people, you can give them TPR. And you also want to reflect their use of language. Pragmatic language is the language that's used to navigate the social world. So like assertiveness, way to stick up for yourself. Awesome compromise. You used your words, very simple thing to say. That's you. So name it. Look at all the variety of behaviors, of micro behaviors that your child does that really could warrant TPR. It's startling to think about. Now, I will tell you. So let's say you do the 5-minute attending exercise and you're trying to do TPR. It's going to feel weird at first. It's a little bit of a different way to talk. My staff, who I work with, to a person say within the first couple hours, it starts to become more natural. And after a day, by the second day, they're like, oh, it's like you've always done it. And also from parents that I've spoken with, I want to give one more little testimonial. The parents say that often that they feel a little overwhelmed by the idea of TPR. But then on the back end, when they've tried it, they said, wow, it's actually so much less effort than all the police work, reacting to social mess ups, being in a negative cycle and all the fallout from that. It feels so good in the house. You can give TPR to your partner or your spouse. And so they actually find that it's actually like a low level of energy that you're giving over time versus the big, clean up in aisle 9, responses after things kind of fall apart. So we're teaching social skills. You're creating the do rules, right? These are the social expectations. And now your child's doing life and you're giving TPR. This is the positive cycles we're going for. I want to give you one more little wrinkle here, because there's something that kids do inevitably that can suck any well-meaning adult into a negative cycle. And that's if kids come at you and it sounds disrespectful. Kids angry, they go, "You're the worst person, you're the worst parent ever." Right? So if you react to that, "How dare you? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. That's disrespectful." Suddenly, so now you're actually defending the content, right? The literal words that they said. "You're the worst person ever," maybe their tone of voice. So now you're defending and you're going back and forth. It could be an argument or a power struggle. A, that doesn't diffuse it, and it doesn't lead to problem solving. That's B. So we call it complex reflection for disrespect. So don't go for your child's words and focus on the disrespect. You're going to go beneath the behavior to the emotion. Go beneath the behavior to the underlying emotion. So, "You're the worst parent ever. You are really mad right now. What's up?" Reflect the emotion. Kid goes, "Oh, I had a bad day, and now you're all over me about homework." Go, "Oh, okay, I see. Well, do you need to have a snack first, or do you need an extra break? What can we do to help you?" So you can see this can be the beginning of problem solving. When you reflect the emotion, that's empathy, for one thing. Often empathy neutralizes a bit the emotion, and then it often opens up problem solving. So, "You're really mad right now. What's up?" "I am not doing this stupid homework." Right? Okay. "Yes, you are. You're not going to get into college if you don't do the homework," right? So you can get into the morals of it and the disrespect. But if you go beneath the surface, "I'm not doing this stupid homework," you sound super frustrated. "What's making it so hard to get started?" "Oh, the teacher didn't explain, blah, blah, blah." "Oh, here, let's work on that." You can see how that can lead to problem solving if you don't start to go back and forth about the surface tone and words. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so complex reflection for disrespect. Okay. Some parents talk about my child doing attention-seeking behavior. They're doing all these things, they're getting negative attention. Okay, and so once again, there's a little bit of a complex reflection there. If your child, repeatedly is doing a negative thing and kind of looking back to see if you're noticing, they keep popping their brother or whatever, their sibling. They seem to be, it almost looks like they're intentionally doing something. You can say, "Wow, it looks like you want my attention. You got it. You have my undivided attention. What do you need?" Or you can say, like, I see you. What do you need?" So once again, you're getting past just the behavior part where you're doing that correction. Stop that. That's inappropriate. Stop doing that. You're bothering your brother. But you can actually, let's get beneath the surface. "Hey, looks like you want my attention. What do you need?" A longer form way to say that is, a very therapist-y thing to say is, you're not saying it with words, but your behavior tells me you want something. That's the official therapist quote in the therapy handbook. You're not saying it with words, but your behavior tells me you want something. A great two-word phrase to check in with kids on is, "What's up? What's going on? What's up?" And of course, what do you need? And why do I say, what do you need? If you can get to that question, usually a child is acting up because they need something. Some need is going unmet, so they resort to a behavior, and that's what causes the acting out. So again, if you're just like, "That was inappropriate, go to your room, blah, blah, blah," for some certain behaviors, especially if you really pinned it down as really seeking attention, some parents feel like, "Well, I'm not going to give my child attention over that." But actually, that makes it worse because now they have to up the ante. They have to do something more obnoxious to really get your attention. So let's not play games with your child. If they're showing that they need attention through behavior, give it to them. "It looks like you want my attention. Okay, what do you need? What's up?" Like that, okay? So that's another strategy. If that applies to your child, bottle that, use that one. Okay, now, I want to teach you our reward system. So TPR is basically the R in the arch, A in the R. The R in the arch is TPR, creating the positive cycles. Now, some kids, you might observe their behavior really start to improve. They might start to get more motivated to practice their social skills just with TPR. It's a great place to start. Start there. For some kids, certain behaviors are just a little bit more harder to start. For some kids, maybe there's just old habits that they're used to. Maybe they're having a hard time because it's just hard to initiate a new behavior for your child. So what we do is when we overteach social skills during the time we have your child, we layer on our reward system. This is how your child's leaving with, 1 to 3 prizes every day. And so we have the Mini Pegasus mindful, sloppy, relationship-based, and carnival-style reward system. Okay, that's a mouthful. I'll explain why it's all those things in a moment. It is not an anal sticker chart. Sticker charts, especially for social behaviors, wind up playing gotcha games. The sticker charts measure a certain amount of time. Okay, after school till bedtime, did you not hit your brother and sister? Did you follow our directions? Did you do your homework? Right? So what if that time between school and bedtime, your child in the first got home from school and in minute 4 said something really mean to a sibling? I hate you, I wish you were dead. Okay? And then they got their snack, they got their blood sugar back, and then the rest of their night was golden. At the end of the night, you review your sticker chart. Okay, kind to your brothers and sisters, no mean. Oh, wait a minute. You don't get a sticker for that. Sorry, no prize. So essentially, it covers such a span of time that if one thing went bad, the child doesn't get any credit for the rest of the time. So another benefit of laying this on top of TPR, it's real-time feedback. Kids are getting both your snapshot of TPR, plus now they're getting a token. They're getting some concrete reminder that adds up to a prize in real time. And for the most part, we believe that a child should not lose chips because a good deed does not disappear when something bad happens. So they still get credit. Okay, so it is mindful. If you are doing TPR, once again, you're going to say what you see in TPR. You're going to match the intensity of the moment with your voice. So if your child is doing an everyday thing that you basically expect, and they already can do it, you're like, okay, great job. Like that's $1 for you. You're going to make funny money at home or some other token I'll explain. So, but let's say your child's been working on temper and your child used to, hit or kick siblings or you. And then the first time your child has learned something at camp, their fist is balled up, they're ready to let it fly. And they go, I need a break. And they go stomp off and take a break. They use a coping skill. You should match your intensity for that moment with your voice, your enthusiasm. So if that was a breakthrough moment, you can be like, you did it. That was awesome. Here's just a sloppy handful. Here's like all the bucks. Here's all your tokens, so the child can know that this was a breakthrough moment. Do more of that. Now, some kids, some very, very shy kids, very sensitive kids, sometimes are a little bit sensitive to too much TPR or overdoing it. So just know your child, and you're going to use your voice just right for them. If your child's very sensitive, shy, or easily overwhelmed, maybe you're just like, okay, great job. So match the intensity to your child and to the situation. Also, if you remember, so that's why it's sloppy. You can give a lot of little chips when you drop your tokens in. Relationship-based is because you're going to get really excited for the big moments. So you're your child's cheerleader. So it's relationship-based. Carnival style is because there's going to be 3 levels of prizes: small, medium, and large. So let me talk about sort of a home program to propose. And you can use this if you like. Certainly feel free to ask me if you need any sort of pro tips or some ways to tweak it. But so take a piece of, copy-sized paper, copy your paper, and then you fold it half, half, and half. And so you wind up with 8 of these rectangles, okay? And then in each one, I tend to make like a circle, sort of like a dollar bill. There's the space where like the president's head would go, and each one is worth one. So I write 1 there. You can call them like, make it fun sounding, like Mike Money or Kevin Cash, or it could be like Fun Bucks. Some families call it Fun Bucks. So you can make it just sound fun. Have your child decorate it, design their money. If you have access to a copier, certainly you can copy it, print it at home. If you need to, let me know. We can print it for you at our office. If you don't have access to a copier, no problem. So we'll make about like 10 copies, so you'll have $80. Now every morning, and you cut them out. So now you have $80. All right. And then you're going to be giving your bucks along with your TPR. So you're already practicing TPR, creating positive cycles, and now you're like, okay, great job listening to me. Chips for you. Or here's a buck. This was really helpful. Buck. You and your sister worked it out. Bucks for you. That kind of thing. I mentioned sibling. You can add TPR and bucks for the sibling once again, so your child isn't singled out. And when other siblings see that your camper is getting rewards, they might be like, hey, that's not fair to me, which is actually true. Oftentimes, siblings of kids with special needs feel like they're left out. They don't get as much attention. So add a do rule for them and give them TPR with bucks. It's good for everyone. So you can universalize the program and have everyone getting TPR and bucks potentially. And kids at different ages are working on different developmental things. So you might have different do rules for each child. So you cut them out. When you wake up in the morning, when you're about to leave, shove a handful of bucks in your pockets or in your bag, and now you're ready to go. Giving TPR, you're giving the bucks. Now, prizes. Remember I said it's carnival style? It's like Dave and Buster's. There's like 3 levels of prizes, small, medium, and large. That's what we have. I recommend that parents do it too, at home, caregivers. Now here's an option for you. There's no one way to select prizes. Prizes have to fit into your family values. Some families say, we do not give food prizes. Some families are fine with food prizes, but they don't give toy prizes. Some families give toy prizes, but not monetary prizes. Some families would rather prizes be experiences. So I have some examples here, right? So it could be 15 bonus minutes of iPad time, staying up 15 minutes later on a weekend. They can get a pass to stay up 15 minutes or 30 minutes later on a weekend, if that works for you. You have to approve every level of prize, whether it's, by your family values or it's your family's budget. I had one kid who said, I want a VR, an RC, a remote control helicopter, or like a drone. Like, well, that's super expensive. The parents were like, nix, we're not doing a drone as one of your prizes. So you decide, and you can see small, medium, and large. This family said, okay, you get bonus 15 minutes of iPad time as your small prize. Medium prize is a trip to the ice cream store or Five Below. And a large prize is an experience. It's a sleepover with cousins. That's what this family came up with. So you can see it's really flexible. And as your child, once they earn a prize, sometimes reward systems get stale because the kids don't want to work for the prizes anymore. Switch them up. If a child already got the trip to the ice cream store or Five Below, be like, okay, you got that already. Do you still want that as a prize, or should we come up with a new medium prize? So you can really keep it fresh and find things that your child is willing to work for. And the way I language it to kids is, I say, some of this friendship stuff and social stuff is really hard. And so I think it would be really fun for you to get some prizes for trying. That's actually the way I language it to kids sometimes. And they're like, okay, I'm good with prizes. And so then off you go. Questions come up about the prize threshold. Yes, it's small, medium, and large. If you have a very young child, they're 4, and they have very little delay of gratification, your prizes might be at 10, 10, 15, 20, or 10, 20, and 30. If you have an elementary school child, someone who's 7 or 8, maybe they start at like 10, 20, 30, but if they're getting prizes really fast because they're getting so many bucks, you can change the threshold. You can say like, you know what, man, this is getting so easy for you. I'm going to challenge you. We're going to make it, 20, 40, 60. Or you could do 30, 60, 90, whatever you want, really. And so these become, so even the price threshold numbers of bucks is variable. So you can really craft it. You can adjust it to your child's age, how hard you want it to be for them to get a prize, and so on. But I do suggest early on, you want to hook the child. You want your child to get some early success with it. So if they go, oh, I can do this. I see how this works. So you want to hook your child. Okay. And so the flow is you create your bucks, you cut them out. Now you have your prize options. And then your child is living life. You're giving TPR along with your tokens. Life is good. Then, when to give the prizes? Out of trial and error and some errors, family feedback, some families found that there were meltdowns on weeknights because a child reached their desired prize threshold, like let's say on a Tuesday at 8:15 p.m. And then they go, okay, prize time, let's go to the ice cream store. And then you have to say no, and then there's a meltdown. And so it creates a negative moment. So we say, we problem solved, and we've made this kind of a thing now. Let's do, unless you have the prizes at home and ready to go, bigger prizes or experiences are weekend prizes. Prizes on the weekends, so you get it on Tuesday, Thursday, whatever, you get your prize, ice cream, whatever, because there's 2 whole days where you can schedule it. So just a thought, again, sort of pro tips to do this really well. So those are the skills. This is how we create the positive vibes, right? To undo the negative cycles that kids are in, to create the positivity that creates acceptance. Your child's going to feel so accepted. They're gonna get credit for their good stuff. And then they're gonna reinforce. We're gonna reinforce and encourage them to repeat and repeat their skills until they become habits. And this is how we do it. In 2 weeks, on the second Tuesday of session 2, or the first Tuesday of session 2, excuse me, we're going to do the C, compassionate social coaching and learning. I'm going to teach you how to do that, coaching through mess ups. And in the H, we're going to talk about coping with frustration and anger. And there's going to be a meltdown plan. That's going to be on the first Tuesday of session 3. You'll continue to receive emails from me both in your daily newsletters, but also if you're no longer with us, if your child's not attending session 2 or session 3, you'll still get separate emails with the links for those. Okay, everyone? So this is the arch. Once again, here is the QR code if you want to view any of the videos on my Art of Friendship YouTube channel. You can like and subscribe to that. Please do. And once again, if you want to order my book online, that's the QR code on the left. That's full price. You can get it for 15 bucks. Disregard what it says on the right. You can get it for a discount on site at Mini Pegasus when you see me or the other staff people. Okay. And there you go. So we can open it up for a little bit to some of your questions. I'll stop the share so we can see each other. And you can certainly feel free. It's a small group. You can unmute yourself or you can chat it. I have the chat up. So let me know if you have any questions that I can help you with. Okay. Looks like the presentation was very self-explanatory and concrete. We are good. Oh, no questions from me. Oh, in fact, yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone who came. all the future people who are watching in Zoom land and the recording. Really happy that you were able to see this. Thank you so much for sharing your child with me and with our team. Already, some magic is happening. Really excited to see how a lot of the kids are finding each other in the playroom. First day, there were some playing apart, feeling out the room. And already today, there were some kids playing right near each other, with each other, some flexibility being shown. So only gets better from here, but really, really exciting. Thanks, Glenn. Appreciate that. I'll hang out a little longer. If you have any personal questions about your child's individual needs and you don't want to ask me about them here, email me. We can set up a time to talk. Happy to help you that way as well. All right. If there are no questions, that's cool and that's okay. I will wrap things up for here. George, thanks so much. Yes, have a good rest of the week. I think we're going to wrap up and sign off. Everyone, pleasure to be with you. Happy TPRing. And let's create our positive cycles. Bye for now. See ya.
Bye. Thank you.
Yep, bye.